Hey everybody, it is Pam Varner, and we are here today. We are going to talk about the snowflake number 9. So let me get situated here real quick and make sure that everybody can see me. I just want to make sure that I'm live. And let's see. Oh, no, don't do that. Okay, I am live. All right. Yay. Hi everybody, it's Pam Varner, and we are going to play with the snowflake today. So it's a snowflake number 9 from the box, this spring box. And it's really versatile, even though it doesn't look like it. So let's go over the template itself. Here's the template. And it has a pointy side. And then this side here I call the arrow. I don't know why, I call it the arrow. And then it has a 1/2 inch circle. So you have this template, this, and everything. So and then you also have lines here where you can do straight lines. So hold on just a second. I have something that's competing with me here, and I have to get rid of it because I'm getting feedback. I apologize, but we're going to do a few designs today with this template. So I'm going to start with some designs with 8-point crosshairs, okay? And the first one I'm going to do, I think is really fun. Let's see. This, I'm going to use the diamond part of the template of the snowflake. And the difference between this and the regular snowflakes is you don't have a stopping point, right? So you just come down and you stop. You find a place that you want to stop at. So we're going to do, oops, I don't want to do the circle. We're going to do the diamond, but we're going to put this part in the middle, in the very center. And then we're going to do a diamond. Now, when you come up and you hit the line, you can immediately go that way, or you can take a couple stitches forward, whatever makes you happy. And I'm going to do this on all 8 points, and it makes a really nice design in the middle, and it's really small. What I like about this template, I do a lot of quilts with charm squares, and they end up being 4.5 inches. So a 3.5 inch design is just a little too small for me. But with this template, I can change that, right? I can use the center of the template to make things go longer. You definitely don't want to stitch over these threads. I always keep the threads under my template. I think it holds them better, kind of keeps them out of place. And if you have a problem figuring out where the template goes, because my lines aren't that long, you can use your spacing gauge if you want to. So you would you'd make sure that your line was in the middle of this tunnel here. I'm going to call that a tunnel. And there's also a line right here, so I can line that line up with this center line if I want to. So what I'm doing is I'm turning this template into like a little mini Spinifex. It's a little bit bigger than the minis. I'm going to measure it when I'm done so you can see. And this is the last one. So I lock those stitches by going back away from center and then coming back. Now, if you want to bury your threads, I suggest that you do that because now you have, I'm going to show you when we're done. Let's pull our threads here so you can see what I'm talking about. Uh-oh, there we go. Ha, gotcha. Oh, my scissors are right here in front of me. Okay. So now we have these threads that you can tell which ones are the beginning threads and which ones are the ending threads. And you're not trying to bury both of these threads into the center. Sometimes when I do a spin effects, if I'm doing like 16 rotations, I'll actually start a stitch out and then go in and then go around. So that is our first design. And now we're going to do where we have the line of the diamond in the middle, right? And come out this way. So you can go out as far as you want, right? You can, oh, I was going to measure this for you. You can figure out how large you want your design to be. This one is 3 inches. From this point to this point, that's 3 inches. But if you wanted to, you could mark like 4 inches out. Let's say you wanted an 8-inch design. I don't know if I have 4 inches here. I don't. Let's see. I could go 1, 2. 2 inches would give me 4 inches. 2 1/4 would give me 4 1/2. But I want a 4-inch design. So let's go 2. I'm looking for a marking. There's my marking pen. This way you can make the design any size you want, which is one thing I really like about this style of template. Again, I'm pulling in the middle. And I'm taking a couple of anchoring stitches. Okay, so now we're going to use this line, right? And I want this to stop here. That's where I want my stitching to stop. So I'm going to take my spacing gauge, the wrong spacing gauge, and I'm going to set it here. Okay, so now I'm on the line on the side of my template that is just, let's see if you can see these lines over here. I'm on the line that is just below the 2. So I know where to set my template when I rotate. So well, maybe it was the 3. It's the 3. It's this side of the 3. I'm sorry. So now I'm going to stitch along the channel and then make my diamond. And then this is the line that is over here, just short of the 3. those diamonds are gonna probably touch each other, which is okay. They might kiss each other. We're gonna find out. Again, the line below the 3, I'm lining up over here. And that's how I know how far back to put this template. I want off the template there. Let's see. Get these threads out of the way. There we go. To me, a 4-inch design would be perfect for a charm square, right? Because your charm square is going to finish at 4.5 inches. And I think this is just going to barely kiss it all the way around. And this is our last one. Oops, that's a little far away. I think I started too far away on that one. That one should have been here. So it would have come in this way. There we go. If this were a quilt that I was working on, I would take those stitches out. Or, look at that. That looks really nice. That double right there. So let's go to that. So you can see what it would look like if we just left it alone. But if we were to do that on the angles, instead of the north, south, east, west, we'll do the ones that the lines are a 45-degree angle. And go down to the 3 line, because that's what I did. Let's see. You know what I love about mistakes? You always come up with a new design. Okay, that's the, there we go. And we've got one more to even this out. Let's see, there's the 3 on that line. And that came out really nice. We're just going to cut these. If I were doing a wall hanging that's not going to get washed a lot, I would lock my threads, pull them, and cut them. If I was making a quilt that was going to be washed, I wouldn't do that. I would bury the threads. So here we've kind of played around with that design a little bit, and I think it came out really cute. Okay, so now let's play a little bit more. I've got a few more designs I want to show you, but now I'm inspired by what I just did, so who knows what's going to happen. So we are going to we're going to work on this side, what I call the arrow. And so I'm going to start like right here. I don't know if you can see right where this divot is. I'm going to start there. Okay, and there's a couple ways you can do this template. One is the way that I did, just kind of go around this and you get this rounded look to your stitching. The other is you can go up, let's go there. When you come down and you hit the line, right, I've kind of floated off the template just a little bit. And then you hit the line and you go back this way. And then you get a sharper edge. This becomes a point and not so rounded. So it takes a little bit more time for me to do it the point way. So that's why I tend to do the round way most of the time. Because I have to slow down here and think and then go that way. I've been sewing with my feed dogs up. So let's just review that for anybody who's new. With ruler work, you always want your feed dogs down or your stitch length set to 0. I do both. I don't know why. I don't know. I just think it works better. And I'm using a Bernina Series 8 machine. So what I've done is I have threaded my bobbin for embroidery. I've tightened my bobbin thread. And the reason I do that is because my bobbin thread is a 60 weight thread. I'm using a 40 weight polyester in my, oh my God, center a little bit. I'm using 40 weight polyester in my needle and a 50 weight or a 60 weight in my bobbin. So that's why I've tightened my bobbin tension. If you use the same thread in both the top and the bobbin, you probably won't have to adjust your tension at all. I keep sliding off center. Let's see if we can stay in the center. And here we go. This is the last one. Kind of got my threads messy in the middle, but we'll still be able to see what we've done. And this is just the beginning threads that kind of got under the stitching. I can come in here and take these out. I can trim them, but I'm going to do that later. I might be able to cut that short and then just take a pair of tweezers and pull that out. So, but there's the design. And just like this one, I mean, it comes out really nice. And you don't visually see that when you first look at the template. So now we're going to play with the circle. This time I'm going to use this part of the template, right? So it's got 1/4 inch markings. This is where the needle is. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually the line to the right of the number. So that's going to give you an inch. So it just depends how far you want to go and again, how big you need your design to be. So sometimes I actually use, oops, the seams in the quilt, and I will put the template up to that seam. Like if this were the seam, I would put the template up to the seam, and then I know I'm a 1/4 inch away from the seam. I like to stitch 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch away from the seams of the blocks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up, and I'm going to use my spacing gauge a lot. So this, by using the spacing gauge, I can measure where this is. Now, the other thing that is helpful is if you go this way and you stitch to this stop, right? So what I'm going to do, that would be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 1 1/4 inches. So let's just do that. Let's come out 1 1/4 inches. And then we're going to make our circle. So the circle has lines on it as well, right? It has a line here for center, or you can use this line and this opening for center. You have a couple of options. I almost put the template away and was going to stitch with the paper. Okay, so I'm going to go this way, put that line on there, put that line on there. So I've lined up in the back and I've lined up here in the front. And I'm just going to make a little circle. And now I'm going to go back to center. I'm actually going to cut these beginning threads. I should cut both of them. There we go. Okay. We're going to go back to center. We're going to make sure this is a 1/4 inch away. Here and down there. There we go. And we're going to stop at center. Now this one, I want to go farther away, right? I want to go like, maybe we'll go to the number 3 mark, which is actually going to be 2 1/4 inches. We're going to come out here. And if you wanted more quilting, you could use 16 crosshairs instead of just the 4 that I'm doing. And make sure that we're 1/4 inch away down here. Because I want to make sure I'm stitching on top of what I stitched when I went out from the center. I don't want these stitches to be next to each other. I want them to be on top of each other. Sometimes you're not always that perfect. I mean, sometimes you are. Okay, here we go. And we're going back to center. Oops, let's get that 1/4 inch in there. If you had a wide border, this one is gonna, oh, this one's the 3. You could do this design in a border. I'm going to show you what I mean in just a second. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm putting my spacing gauge behind the needle back here, and I can line it up with the reference line over here. So let's say you're about, a half an inch away from your border up here and a half, down here. So instead of having the design centered in the middle, right, you can center it up high. But you could, if you wanted to, oops, go into the line, and we're starting at the 4. What I would do if I wanted to continue to go that direction is, oops, I want to go straight. I don't want to. I just got lost. Let me see what I did here. Okay, that was the 3. And then this is the line 4. Okay. I was trying to go down the wrong side. What I would do is I would come out here. I'm using the wrong design. Okay, let's stop here. I got confused there. I definitely would take those stitches out. And I would go here and I would do a circle and a half, say, like that. Then I could continue down here on this line and I could start another design that just went that way. You could also, this could be your center line, and you could do one below and then the one that was over here went up that way. That would work as well. So, but now we're going to take our circle and we're going to have a double stitch circle here. Line that up pretty good. Okay, let's see. This is the longer one. This is what I did. I tried to stitch down there instead of here. And then we can put the circle in here. Oops, sorry about that. See if I can eyeball that and get it back. I'm not always perfect when I do that, but it saves time. And now this is the short one. Since I usually don't talk when I'm stitching, I don't get that distracted, but occasionally it happens. And this is going to be our last one. This is a long one, so that's on the 3. And then we will get our little circle. So we've got 3 completely different designs. from the same template, which I think is really fun with some of the templates that come in the boxes. Okay. Now I could have, if I wanted to, I could make these all come out the same, but I don't always like to do that. Sometimes I like to make things different, especially because this template allows you to do that. Let's cut these. Okay. So there we have circles. Okay, so that's that design. And then the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the arrow side and this side, the diamond side. But what I've done on this next one is I've done 16 crosshairs. It really helps to play on paper if you have the stitching line discs to kind of come up with, you know, good ideas and things like that and how it's going to look and that kind of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in the middle. So the first one I'm going to do is the arrow. And I'm going to do that. Let's see. I think I want it to come out a little farther. I'm not quite sure how far I want it. It's easier if you use these lines here and you don't go like in between two of the lines. So I'm doing, what is this? That's 2. Let's hope we remember. It's the long line between the 2 and the 3. So we're going to go up here. If I were doing this on a quilt, I definitely would write that down, right? Because I would want to make sure that I got it exactly right in all of the, oh, it's not the long line, it's the one next to it. Okay, so it's the one just, here's the long line, it's the one that's just past the long line, so it's that one. Okay, there's 2. No, it is a long line. Okay, so there's 2, and then there's the long line right here. It's hard for me to see this with this light. Oh, it's the one past the, okay. It's the one past the long line. That's what I was getting confused because it wasn't going up any if I did the other way. I didn't have like this little line here. It just went right into the design. So I'm skipping and I'm doing every other line with this side of the template. Okay. So it's the one past the 2, the long one between the 2 and the 3. The other thing you could do is you could mark your template. I mark my template with permanent markers like a Sharpie, but only on the top of the template. And then when I'm done, I clean it off with alcohol. Sometimes I leave it. And then when I get the template back, I forget what I was doing or why I did that. And now to add a little variety, we're going to use the diamond side and come in between these. Oops. There we go. So I have to decide if I want them to intersect or if I want them to touch. Let's see, that's gonna, what side's a little, there we go. That's gonna intersect. So maybe we want to go up a little farther. Well, there's a line here, this side of the number 3, that's a long one. So we're going to use the long line because it's easier to see. Oh, that may have been a mistake. And I'll tell you why. See how it just kissed that? If it doesn't just kiss it all the way around, it's going to show up. So that may not have been the best decision. Oops, let's go here. Because here I don't know that it's going to kiss. Let's find out. Oh, it did. So far we've gotten lucky. Because you know, fabric moves, right? And it shrinks up when you quilt it, and you know, you could start something and then by the time you get done with it, it's not exactly working out. Let's see. This was a long one. There we go. Oh, I keep trying to go to the wrong line, the wrong reference line. I think this is going to cross it. No, it didn't. Ooh, kudos to me. I might actually be able to pull this off. There's the. All right, so I have a place where I keep my scissors, but sometimes I leave them on the table. So that came out good. There we go. Let me see. I'm just checking for comments. I don't see any questions. I just see hellos, which is always nice. I like that. All right, that's giving me a problem here. I don't want that there. Hold on. I'm trying to read the comments and I just see a bunch of hellos. So that's nice. Hi. I appreciate that. All right. So there's that. And then the other thing that you can do is use your circle, right? So combine the diamond and the circle. So let's get in the center here. And then when I get done with this, we're going to do some like edge to edge or border designs. But I think you can see how versatile this template is and that you don't have to use it just the way that it says on the instruction book, right? There's so many different things you can do. So this time we're going to do the diamond in the center, and I'm just to make it easy, I'm going to start at this little neck right there. I don't know what else to call it. The opening of the channel. And I'm going to come out here And when I get to here, I'm going to stop. This is very time consuming, but, and I'm going to do a circle and go back, stop on the line, come back out here. Now, the way that I can tell if I'm lined up properly is if I am a 1/4 inch away on this side, which it looks like I am, and when I measure it, I am, so that's good. And this is a little forgiving of a template, so it's okay if it's not perfect. Okay, right at the neck. And we're going to come up this way again. And I really like how this crosses right here. And then put another circle. And then come back here and go back down. If you hit the foot, or not hit it, but take your template and put it up against the foot, then use your crosshair square opposite of where you're at and line up. You shouldn't have to measure anything, and you should be just fine. Oops. And you're not actually stitching like these diamonds, right? You stitch half of it, do the circle, you come back down. It's not like you're trying to line everything up perfectly so it goes on top of what you just stitched. So that's why you can give yourself a little bit of leeway there. Okay, let's put that right there. I almost completed the circle. I don't want to do that. And there's a line there and a line there. Oh, that didn't sound good. I can always tell when my machine is being strange. And that sounded really weird. So let's try it again. Okay. Oops. Oh, I didn't cut that. There we go. There, that sounds better. If I don't stop it as soon as it makes that sound, then I get a jam. And I don't want to do that. So let's try this and see if it's going to behave now. Yeah, there we go. Much better. And then go back here and go back down. Line that up down there. Things are catching where I don't want them to. So I don't know what the weather's like where you're at, but it's getting really hot in southern Arizona now. We are up in the hundreds and we'll stay there for quite a while. We'll probably stay there until the rains come. See what I mean about it being time consuming? Because you have to constantly change and go back and forth and back and forth. And we just have a couple more to do. And I think you're going to be happy with the way it comes out. I hope you're going to be happy with the way it comes out. This one I didn't get lined up perfectly, but it's not really going to show up. Just a little 1/2 inch circle. Had to fudge a little bit there, but and after this, I think we've got one more to go. Yep, we got one left. And I think you'll see how much fun it is to mix these templates. Oh. I'm staying in the middle only because I'm not gonna vary my threads here. Because it's time consuming and this is a demo. So like I said, if it was a real quilt, I'd be burying threads. So there you have it. And I think that's really fun. So, and now let's go on to some line designs because I always think those are fun. Let's see, that went there, that goes there. So I know a lot of times people like to do edge to edge. Now these are really small designs and may not be the best for edge to edge, but if you have a small piece and you need some background fill, this works out really well. And you can't, there's so many different ways you can do it. And like I'm going to take the diamond on this row and show you some different things you can do with the diamond. So we're at the edge of our whatever we're doing because this works good in sashing as well. So let's do the diamond. And let's start it even with a circle. So what I have to do is come down here, and you're always going to have to do one side twice. And that didn't end up on the line perfectly. Okay. And then come down to the circle, make sure you're on your line. And this time I'm going to do the double stitching on the top because this time I did it on the bottom. So I'm just giving myself a little bit of room in between the diamonds. The thing that I like about doing this with this template is if you have an odd size sashing, like the length of the sashing, not the width of the sashing, then you can adjust this when you get to the end, and you can make the line a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. You know, I could start down here, I could start there. And now this one is going to be on the bottom. Whatever one you're going to double stitch is the side you start first on. So this one is this side. There you go. So that's what it's going to look like, just separating the diamonds with a line. The other thing you can do is add a circle, right? So we stopped here, and we're at that circle thing. We're going to come up to the edge before we would go off to do the diamond. We're going to put a little circle here. Just kind of breaks it up a little bit. Again, using the lines this way on the template. That way my template's always in the same orientation, and I'm not constantly going back and forth like this. It makes it go faster. So now this double stitching was on the bottom. I want this to be on the top. And the reason you want to do that is because it tricks the eye into thinking that things are not always double stitched. Now this is so small that maybe I might be better doing the next one with the double stitching on the top or away from me. And this one's going to be a diamond. So we're going to see what it looks like if we go on the top. I think if we're consistent, and maybe have these match, like this is double stitched on top, that's double stitched on the top. The next circle is going to have to be on the bottom. But I want to come in here first and make the line. And this one we're going to do on the bottom, the double stitching. Yeah, I think that works. And we'll just do one more diamond. Now with this one, you don't have to finish the stitching when you're at the end of wherever you're at. You can just leave it like that and just make your diamond. Again, I lost my scissors. I even have a little magnet right next to my sewing machine that I put them on, but sometimes I forget to put them on. So that causes a problem. Then we have this shape, right? So what I call the arrow side. So we're going to turn it this way. Same thing, we're going to have we're going to start at this line right here. So we want to put this even with my needle and line up that. So this again has to be double stitched. So we're going to start on the bottom. The only way you can continue is to double stitch unless you just do half of that, which you could do if you wanted. Then move up, same thing. Even with that circle, the line on the circle, make sure the template's there. And this one we have to double stitch on the top. And stop on the line. Now, this distance between these pieces, you can make them as long as you want. If you butt this up against here, you're going to be fine. They're just going to be really close together. And I just kind of like it just a little distance in between. This is on the, it's not much. It's just enough to separate them so they're not all jammed together. All right. So we can keep on going if we want to and go all the way to the end. The other thing you can do with this, which is kind of fun, is I have to move out a little bit. So let's do that. So again, I'm going to end, I'm going to double stitch, but I'm going to stop up here on the top of my template, not on the center line. So I'm going to come up here. I have to double stitch. And I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to flip my template this way. And I'm going to do the bottom is going to be double stitched. In a perfect world, those would touch, which they did. And then I'm going to stitch to this center right here. I really like this. I think it's fun. And then we don't have enough room to go too far, so maybe I'll start it on another line. See how far we can get. And this has got to be double stitched on the bottom. I actually talk like that when I sew these. I go bottom, top. Oh, I moved the template a little bit. No one's going to care. And no one's going to notice. And I stopped in the wrong spot. So yes, I am going to care now. I got distracted. Well, that didn't come out good. Okay, so I can't. Over here, I have a problem, and I need to put a little piece of cloth there. And I don't know where my little cloth is that I always keep here. Well, here's one. I do this so my template doesn't tip. And put that there. And hopefully I can't see where I'm supposed to be lined up over here. So I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to touch. It's because I couldn't line it up perfectly, but and I'm just going to come back like that. But you could do a whole line of these. And that looks really fun. And then, let's see. You could also add in that particular design, right? You're going to do the point of the arrow. Let's pull way down here to the left. I'm not going to get a lot of this. Okay. I just have a couple more tricks up my sleeve. You could do the same thing by incorporating the diamond part of the template, right? So we're going to do, on this one, we're going to do bottom is going to be double stitched. I could have started on the line in the middle, but I didn't. Okay. We're going to keep this on the bottom. There we go. And then do this and line that up. You could use your crosshair square to check if this was correct. I'm not going to. I probably should. Yeah. Oh, this one I want to be on the top. So I think I'm good here. Oh, it did touch. Came really close. Again, top. If you ever practice edge-to-edge designs, you'll see what I mean if you change where these things are double stitched. Okay, and then that goes this way. Oh, sorry. We're going to go this way. And this is top still. And again, I went too far because I'm distracting myself. And then, let's see. And then come down here. And finish. So I think you can see that you can get really versatile and come up with a lot of different widths of your design if you're doing sashing or a small border. You could also, if you had, again, going back to charm squares, if you did alternate charm squares, like one was an embroidery design, and the next, and it was checkerboard with a plain block, and then another embroidery design, and then in a plain block. You could do these types of designs in the plain block. So, okay, I got one more to show you because I think it's really fun. Okay. This time, we're going to start at the circle again. It's just a good starting point. Again, I have to go a design and a half. And this time I am going to stop in the center line. Okay, and then this is pretty cool. A circle fits right inside this and it doesn't touch the design. It's like a perfect circle. And now we can go back here and do this on the top. On the top means I'm going to double stitch on the top. And you can separate these as far as you want. Meaning the line that's in between this line here. You can make this as long as you want. It helps if I raise the foot. And here's my center. There we go. Oops, on the top. Let's do a couple more of these so you can kind of get a feel of what it looks like. Move the template a little there. It's really going to be okay. No one's going to notice that on a quilt. Now, I usually don't use super contrasting threads when I quilt anyway. So, a little off on your double stitching, no one's going to notice it. If this was like a yellow background or a very light colored background with this yellow stitching, no one would notice. You're the only one. Okay, this is on the top. Let's see, that's lined up. And a little circle. Let's see. So there's that. Hope you can see that. And let's see if I can get rid of that and come here. I'm just checking if there's any questions. And I don't see any questions. So that is all I have for you. Let me just, I'm just double checking on the questions here. Yep, no, I don't see any questions. So I appreciate you being here, and we will see you next month, the first Friday in July. And I hope you all have a great summer. So thanks for being here. And again, I'll see you next time.